Wayanad is still recovering from the aftermath of the massive landslides which killed at least 308 people and injured as many as 200. They have swept away 8 villages at least. As part of the ongoing rescue operations, there is a 190 feet Bailey bridge that has now been built in 31 hours by the armed forces to facilitate the process of recurring and rescuing operations. Further, the Indian Army has rescued 4 people from this site earlier today. There were as many as 40 teams that were deployed. There are more than 1,000 people that have been brought to safety and subsequently to relief camps. The rescue and relief operations in Wayanad have entered day 4. And while the operations may be in full swing in the region, it still seems as though Wayanad has a long way to go. The region is yet to undergo the mammoth task of removing the blankets of debris under which people lay. According to experts, there are 40,000 cubic meters of debris that is needed to be removed from the landslide affected areas in Wayanad. But the question is, how does one do that? The hilly terrain and the huge number of debris due to the falling of the buildings and trees in the region and the making of the retrieval of the body is extremely difficult, and which has delayed operations in the region. Now, keeping in mind, we at NewsX have launched a new action plan called Move the Machines as the action plan, which appeals to the union government and the state governments, industrialists and neighboring states to bring help Wayanad's way, the equipment, the heavy machinery, the earth movers that it needs. This is time for us to act and for us to pull up our socks, join forces, unite and help Kerala get all that it needs at this hour. Apart from this, NewsX has also devised a priority list to get Kerala what it needs. So moving forward with this action plan, we have spoken about how there needs to be disaster and landslide insurance that needs to be provided, how these individuals who have lost their livelihoods and particularly their homes should be included in the PM Awas Yojana. There are several other of these suggestions, priorities that have been provided by us to the government officials, to the authorities. And let's in fact discuss this with one of the politicians from down south who's joining me on the broadcast right now. It's D. Raja, who's member of Rajya Sabha from the Communist Party of India, joins me on the telecast. Thank you for joining us. And my first questions are about the NewsX campaign, Move the Machines. We are appealing to the governments, the industrialists, to neighboring states to come together and send heavy machinery, the earth movers, to Wayanad. What do you have to say about the campaign?
It is a good campaign because everyone should extend the possible help to the people who are passing through such unprecedented suffering because of the landslide. So it is good that as a media, NewsX has taken up this campaign. I hope other media also initiate such campaign so that people get relief during the crisis time.
And you know, the rescue operations are going on for 4 days now. What do you make of these rescue efforts on the ground? The army has already been able to build a makeshift bridge in 30 hours. What's your assessment of the situation? What more needs to be done?
The situation continues to be grim. At the same time, the rescue operations are effectively carried out. People are rescued and they are taken to rehabilitation centers. Certain things are going on. Political parties are visiting, political party leaders are visiting and expressing their solidarity and support to the suffering people. It is a good thing, and the state government in Kerala has been doing all its best efforts to help the people, and the union government has agreed to extend itself, but we are demanding that union government should declare the Wayanad disaster as national disaster and extend the all possible help and whatever the state government needs, the union government should be generous and to help the Kerala government and people at a time of such a huge crisis.
Do you feel it is important and downright essential right now for the state and the central government to work together and allocate homes to the families that have been impacted?
Definitely, there should be coordination between state government and union government. Both governments put all efforts, take all efforts how to expedite the rehabilitation work, how to construct new houses, how to help the people to migrate to the new houses from the place where they are going through hardships and sufferings. So both governments, state government, union government, have the responsibility. They must help the people. It is not we can let down the people. The governments have the responsibility. It is their duty to help the people at a time of crisis.
Right. What do you feel? What more right now can be done for the families who have lost their lives and the livelihoods and their relatives and near and dear ones in Wayanad?
No, one is union government should declare it as national disaster, and union government should extend the financial help under that scheme. Then people need dwellings, people need medical care, and people need the food and other essential things. The governments should ensure all those things. These are all immediate measures because you cannot leave people to suffer on the open ground. They must have some dwellings and they must have food. So how to supply food items, then they must have clothes, they must have adequate medical care because injurious people are there, and there must be sick people for many years. So all these people should be helped. So dwellings, food, medical care, these are all certainly immediate needs for the people.
Do you think there should also be incorporation of a policy, maybe a landslide insurance policy dedicated to disasters like these?
It is a larger issue which needs to be discussed in Parliament, and the government will have to think over seriously. There are life insurance schemes, medical insurance schemes, even that has become an issue. One of the cabinet ministers in Modi government, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, has raised that issue of GST on medical insurance and life insurance. It is a genuine issue, point which he has raised. So the Parliament needs to consider all such issues.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. D. Raja, for joining me and sharing your views on the subject. Also on the telecast with me right now is Major General Brijesh Kumar. Thank you for joining me, General Brijesh Kumar. And my focus right now over here, as my hashtag says, move the machines. And that's exactly what we are campaigning for, because while there are these smaller JCBs and earth movers that have been brought in, the larger challenging task remains is the transportation of these heavy machinery which are equipped to do the job, but until they arrive in Wayanad, all roads, all bridges are going to stay stuck.
Yes, Megha, your campaign is right. But at this point of time, what we need is more rescue, and rescue. The fourth day of the debacle, we find that close to 380, 390 casualties, fatalities. Rest we do not know. Machines will be required, certainly, and possibly we have done pretty well in that. Let's get to a sequence of events which I must share with you.
Okay.
30th morning, the problem started. The event happened. By the afternoon, the state government requisitioned the army. By evening, a flight from Delhi with equipment and soldiers from South Indian category of engineers, they land up there. MEGN Center, Bangalore sends a big set of people with equipment, machinery and what have you. And engineers, by the way, the Corps of Engineers I'm talking about, they are very well equipped to handle such calamities. They have had the experience, wherewithal and skill set. Looking back, whether it was Latur earthquake or tsunami somewhere, or Bhuj earthquake, or Uttarakhand debacle, everywhere is the sappers who are the first responders.
Yeah.
And the great thing happened when they land up there. Imagine a catastrophe like this, where people have not been warned, unfortunately. It is a shock. For first 24 hours, nothing happens on ground. But the arrival of these people in the army, armed forces per se, with the air force and naval help, it galvanizes people. It puts life into machinery. It puts life into people as well as the organization, and things have started. And you find that in last 3 days, adequate material has been moved. And the first thing was to restore communication. So we talked about that bridge, which was proudly built by Major Sita Shelke of the MEG, happened to be from my unit as well. She was a bridge commander. They completed this arduous task of marrying equipment, making the abutments, making the retaining walls, and the bridge, I believe, has been handed over to the civil administration early this morning. Now what happens is, similarly, 3 more bridges have been launched. Over these bridges, now the equipment can move around.
Okay.
And go across with relief material. One point about major equipment. Kerala highways are narrower. It's a densely populated state. Where do you employ too much equipment? Equipment per se may not be an issue because this is a developed part of the country with Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and Kerala itself, fair amount of resources. But having said that, coordination is required, which is happening. And now, with the Indian Army with its components, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, NCC boys, as also National Disaster Management and the State Disaster Management. We're all enmeshed. The format is ready. People are being rescued. We hope that next 3 days are important to rescue people who may be lying with debris.
Right.
A point of highlighting, we're also using our silent force of the dogs, our trained dogs, 3 of them, Dixon, Mixie and Pack, have been moved in with the cattle. They sniff around for life, or even for dead bodies inside the debris. So what I find that for rescue, we are doing pretty fine. And giving our background, I don't see any reason to panic. We are very well road to recovery. It will take time, and that we must get. So central government, state government, everybody is at it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for giving us that information. Let me also get in Brigadier Vinod Datta. And Brigadier, you heard it from Major General Brajesh Kumar that, in full stead there are these rescue and relief operations that are being conducted by the Army, by the IAF, we have the NDRF. They all at this point of time have been going on all guns blazing for the last 4 days. But important over here is to note that, and you see in those visuals, it's not just mud and sludge. It is also these massive rocks, and there is probability and fear that there could be bodies that may have been crushed under these rocks, under these huge debris that we can see in terms of the landscape that has been created after the landslide. Now these rocks and boulders can be moved only and only if we have the proper heavy machinery and equipment with us to move the process and hasten it.
Yeah, I agree with you because you see, having overseen a lot of operations as far as disaster management is concerned, both nationally and internationally. You see, it is a very sad commentary that the state has always overlooked the Madhav Gadgil report, K. Kasturi Rangan report. We have had similar incidents where you see Mamallapuram and Puthumala, these these hamlets or these villages, they were totally washed off. There have been in 2018 100 landslides. We know that 1/8 of the Indian mass is prone to landslides, but still the state government has taken no corrective measures. Like we are talking of moving heavy earth movers and all. All those things should have been in place, because if you see the Western Ghats, they are prone to such kind of calamities. But nothing has been done. Everything has been left. Nothing concrete has been done by the state authorities. Now they are running helter and skelter. Why this kind of tourism is being encouraged when you know that the area is prone to landslides? Now, to move such equipment, these equipment should be placed at vantage points. They can be pulled in from nearby areas.
Yeah.
They can be even.
And therefore, the mobilization when it comes to special trains, if you have the Globe Masters flying with these heavy equipment that can be landed onto the Wayanad district, would be something that would be helpful. And that's why you say the neighboring states coming together. And I don't think there is a dearth of cooperation and coordination from states and the center, which is clearly visible in the rescue operation and the teams that have been brought in from various different departments and that are coming together. But Vivek Menon, also getting into the nitty-gritties of it and the minutiae of it, there is millions and tons of mud and slush and boulders and rocks that at this point of time occupy these regions within Wayanad, which are blocking the roads and the bridges. In fact, there are bridges that have collapsed as well. Now, what kind of strength is required? What is the number of machinery that will be needed to ensure that these debris and mud and sludge are removed, and then the roads and the bridges are available for inhabitants to carry on with their normal life? Not just how many of these machinery and heavy equipment is required, but also how long is this process going to last?
Well, I think, I think Mr. Brajesh Kumar, Brigadier Brajesh Kumar just talked about, the kind of machinery that's probably needed out there. But I think, at the end of the day, large machinery to get it into the valley, especially if you see where the major, disasters actually occurred, it's way in the valley where, there aren't too many roads actually that lead to that, or there are very narrow roads that lead to that. So I think, in a sense, at some point in time, once obviously the rescue operation, which is the need of the hour right now, once that is completed, that's when the extent of the calamity is going to really reveal itself. Of course, we do have a lot of debris around, but there's obviously not going to be an opportunity to remove all of that debris. It probably has to be moved into other places. It is within a valley. It's within pretty much the drainage area of that particular region itself. The water streams that flow through there. So at the end of the day, the reconstruction effort is probably going to be pretty substantial going forward. That could probably take anywhere from, obviously 6 months to a year to 2 years. But at the same time, I think, these are extremely sensitive areas from an ecological standpoint. And I think that environmentally, sensitive areas should be kind of preserved from now onwards. I mean, yes, people do probably have to come back to their habitations, but I don't think this large scale development that we have probably seen over there should be re-established. I think these slopes are extremely vulnerable. We have to ensure that, we don't put people in harm's way. And I think that is going to be the responsibility of the local government, the local agencies, the state government, to ensure that these ecologically sensitive and environmentally sensitive areas are free from habitation. If permits are being given for, new construction to come up, new resorts to come up, they should be quashed. People need to be moved to safer zones. So I think there's a larger play over here. There has to be a lot more planning that goes into it. Of course, rescue is right now the immediate thing at hand. But going forward, I don't see, yes, machinery has to move in there right now. But like like they said previously, sniffer dogs. Right now, it's to find people, if they're alive, to get them out. If there are dead bodies, is to obviously get that out from there. But I think the reconstruction effort is going to take a substantial amount of time.
Vivek, we talk about how long is long enough. And we wait and we decide, the rescue operations have to stop at a certain point. There were 200 plus people who continue to be missing from day one.
Yep.
The death toll has increased from about, it started off with, I think the first news came in about 20 people who died, then 63, and then it was 100 plus, and now it is 308 people. Possibility, chances that those 200 plus people, and there could be more actually, this is the official figure, so the actual figure could be much more, and the likelihood of them surviving this in the last 4 days seems minimal.
Yeah. I believe so. I think now it's a search and rescue operation, but I don't think, going forward over the next 2 to 3 days, we're going to find too many people alive. Today there were 4 people who were found boxed into a house, I think, but, they were found alive. But I don't, necessarily see that. Of course, it's not the greatest of news, but then I think that's the way it's going to be. But at the same time, people who are kith and kin would want to see, would want to at least recover the bodies. And I think, there's no better, institution than the army to do this right now. They're the ones who have been deployed and they're doing their best over there. And I'm sure they'll do their best to get everyone out and, probably accounted for. But yes, beyond that, the reconstruction effort is going to be substantial. And I think, you alluded to it with the honorable, Parliament MP, as to whether there should be insurance. I think that's the need of the hour. A lot of these people have lost their livelihoods. They've lost their residences. They don't have a place to stay. So I think, that effort of reconstruction should go on. And I think it probably, should be done expeditiously. And I hope that both the central government and the state government will step in and chip in to ensure. And of course, this is Rahul Gandhi's constituency, Wayanad, and so I'm sure there'll be a doubled up effort from the opposition leader to basically ensure that people do get their dues.
Okay, all right. Major General Brajesh Kumar, I'll come back to you. And there's lots that has been spoken about how this is an ecologically sensitive area and how there should be number of tourists that need to be reduced to the minimum. These tourist resorts that are set up all across Wayanad, especially in the upper reaches of Wayanad and the Western Ghats, need to be contained right now. But as compared, and in fact, if I could tell my viewers, I was in Wayanad just 2 days ago, 2 days before this tragedy struck, the landslide. So I was safely back in my back home when this tragedy struck. But compared to the tourist footfall in Uttarakhand and in Himachal Pradesh, the tourists who come into Wayanad in Western Ghats is maybe just a trickle, and even the deforestation that happens because of construction is to the minimal. I'm making this statement as compared to the northern side of the country, the mountains, the Himalayas. Like I said, the Himachal and Uttar Pradesh, and beg your pardon, Uttarakhand. So how do we decide to conserve our environment so that these lands?
Megha, very worthwhile point. Just 2 issues I would like to find out. See, it is the human greed of all the stakeholders put together that they want to exploit for various potentiality. However, having said that, Wayanad is a much smaller place. It's not even that built up area, except one township of, I forget the name. There's only one city there. So therefore, I suppose sometimes the disaster can start for a reason beyond human control. Not that they haven't done deforestation here. Not that they haven't done zoning here. They haven't followed zoning. And maybe there is an additional rainfall which is very, very substantial and some damages come. What we have missed out here is the aspect of early warning and sensitization. No, I take viewers' mind back to a tsunami. We perished a lot. Thereafter, we all set up a system in the coastal regions, east and west, Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, where a huge number of fishermen are fishing out. We have had cyclones, but a warning system, sensitization, technology for monitoring environment, the clouds, the rainfall have ensured that the damages are minimal.
So are you saying yes, when there are cyclones and there are typhoons, the warnings are adhered to more seriously? It becomes, the evacuation process is faster and happens days before the cyclones and tsunamis hit. As has been witnessed, you already have the IMD forecasts that give you real-time information about how the winds are traveling and how the floods are moving, and that can be contained. But when landslides such as these happen, they are sudden and they happen. And yes, there were warnings given and forecasts happened that there is going to be more than normal rainfall that is going to be witnessed by Wayanad, by Kerala. So does that mean that on a periodic basis, every single time there is monsoon, people are evacuated from that place and moved to areas that are less sensitive?
Not that. See, what I mean is, if I'm mentally prepared, and these days something might happen, it's easier for me to see and plan accordingly. What happens otherwise in landslide prone areas or avalanches prone area, we carry out an annual rehearsal, like your fire drill, and that has to be done. There is no getting away from it. Now, coming to the second part of the question, compare this with a fault zone in Uttarakhand, Himachal, Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, there the tourism is much larger, and we also have a problem. For our security considerations, strategic roads are coming up, which people normally confuse as being only made for tourists. Not really. In the Uttarakhand, whether you go along any of the two valleys, Mana, Niti Pass, we have the Chinese sitting on the other side. We have to have roads which can carry tanks and heavy material. It is incidental that the tourists can use it and the criticism. So we had learned to make a distinction between essential strategic requirement and development just for commercial reasons.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.